encourage your soul, enlighten your mind, and empower your faith. This is the Light Network.
Hello and welcome to Wifey Wednesdays, a podcast for women who are seeking to be the best wives they can be. I'm your host, Emily Hatfield, and this is the show where the plan is always to do things God's way, especially our marriages. Now, you're going to notice from the outset of this podcast that I have some form of weird laryngitis-y, cold, allergies, life in Tennessee-ness going on in my throat. You're welcome. So I don't know what that's going to do. I'm sorry for the way I sound. It's even worse on YouTube. So that's all I got for you. Today we're going to be talking about using our talents. So if you can bear with my voice, bless you for that. And here we go. Before we get started, I need you to do something for me. I want you to think right now about something you're good at. And I don't want you to preface that thought with, I'm not really good at anything, I don't have a talent, etc., etc. We all know about negative self-talk. We all know just how to put ourselves down. We know the thing we want to be good at, but also the thing that we don't want to say we're good at because we don't want to brag. I get it. But this is you time. This is a quiet time with God. So, what are you good at? Got it in your mind yet? Okay, good. Keep it there. We're going to bounce that around in the back of our minds like we all know we can as fully capable multitasking women. We're going to hold that there for just a minute. All right, in Matthew 25, Jesus tells a parable about men with different amounts of something within their possession. They are to be stewards of this for the master. One guy has 5 talents, one guy has 2 talents, and one guy has 1. You're familiar with this story that Jesus tells, right? You know what's coming. But I want you to stop right now, and I want you to see that from the outset of this story, nothing is wrong. It isn't wrong that one guy has 5. It isn't wrong that one guy has 1. They're different, sure. And different ones have been given different responsibilities from the master. But what goes wrong in the story is when one guy digs a hole and sits on the talent. Not literally, of course. Though, I mean, who knows? I'm getting some serious chicken vibes from this guy. Notice that the guy who has 2 talents receives the same commendation at the end as the guy with 5. He wasn't made to feel lesser than because he didn't have as many as the other guy. Instead, he was simply expected to do good with what he had. And he did. The problem in this parable is the guy who does nothing with what he's been given. If he had been a 1-talent guy who used that 1 talent and got another talent, he'd be on the same level as the other 2. But unfortunately, that's not how it goes. So, back to you. What's your talent? It may not be the same as someone else that you're thinking of. That one lady that you want to be like, it may seem that you don't have quite as many talents as other women, or at least it doesn't seem that way to you. I get it. I get caught up in the comparison game more than I would like to. And that's why I wanted to address that on the podcast today. You see, you and I were created differently. Uniquely. You have a past different from mine. You have a different personality than I do. You have different abilities than me. You live in a different place than me. Now, sure, some of you may actually live in the same town as me, but you don't live in my house. Last time I checked, it'd be creepy if someone was creepily living here that I didn't know about, but you don't live here. You don't have the exact same sphere of influence. No, we're all created differently by our God and placed in different lives. What are we going to do with it? Maybe you're a 5-talent woman. Amazing. God expects you to use what He's given you to glorify Him. Maybe you're a 1-talent woman. Amazing. use that talent to glorify God. That's what he expects. Now again, that one talent guy, there was nothing wrong with him having one talent. The problem was that it was buried. So practically speaking, how can you use your gifts for Jesus? Because if he's given it to you, then he will use it for his glory. After all, who made you like you? The creator of the whole universe specifically designed you. Your designer brand, baby. Now, how can you use the life he's given to glorify him? Do you write? Spread the word about him. Create wholesome things for others to read. Glorify him with your words. Do you create things? Create things that draw people to him. Use beauty to attract others to a beautiful story of love. Do you bake things? Ooh, how much good can be done through a personal touch of a meal or a goodie bag? So many people have been encouraged by handmade goodies. What a beautiful personal touch to show Jesus to those who are grieving, struggling, new to the area, or feeling simply forgotten. Are you a good teacher? Oh, we need people who are great at it to be teaching in our congregations. I have seen in the past many people that I have been aware of that have said they're professional teachers, and they say, I've done that all week. I want a break on Sundays. If you're willing to give of this talent in your community, and absolutely you should, and I am quite positive that these women and some men are bringing glory to Jesus in their professional responsibilities, but why would you bury it when it comes to a way that you could also encourage the church? If you're gifted in sharing truth and guiding hearts, why not use that for Jesus? My little boy is presently in a Bible class with a professional teacher, and let me tell you, he is growing by leaps and bounds every single week. I am so thankful for her service in using her gifts for Jesus. I am for sure not gifted in the teaching small children way. And I am so appreciative of those who teach small children. Same with a lot of these talents. You know, it is so easy for me to pick apart the things that maybe I do or I do well, and really put those down, but to exalt other people. And maybe that's just something we do naturally, and there's an extent to which, humble yourselves, so it's not about putting that on me and exalting myself. But at the same time, when you see gifts that you don't have in other people, it's okay to appreciate them out loud, encourage those people. And if we're all doing that within the church, then we're all going to be taking care of each other, recognizing the different gifts and talents that we've been given, if we're all using them for Jesus. But also, if no one ever notices and no one ever says anything to you about your gift, that's okay. God made you. God sees you. And it's your job to glorify him, not to receive the glory yourself. So if it's going unnoticed, hey, you're all right. God's got you. I fully believe that. Okay, we're not covering all these things, but are you strong? Okay, maybe I went through a phase where I was more strengthy, more strong, more workouty. I'm mid-30s, my back, if I lift things heavier than my toddler, that's not happening. But people always need help moving things around the house, doing yard work. Maybe you're an outdoorsy type and you enjoy that kind of thing. Think about the widows in your congregation. What can you do that would be beneficial to them and helping them? Do you like to clean? Oh, listen, girl, you can use that for Jesus. There are all the time people who would need help with that. Anybody with small children, widows, people who are sick, people who host a whole bunch of their family at holidays and get overwhelmed. I mean, there are so many ways that we can use our gifts and talents to glorify God. Are you extroverted? Okay, this is just a personality quirk. And by quirk, I mean useful personality trait. Trait's the word I was looking for. Quirk's the word I said. It's fine. I'm an introvert. I'll call you extroverts quirky. It's okay. You don't mind because you're extroverted. You'd give me a hug about it if you could. So that's fine. Are you extroverted? Use it in a way to glorify God. Strike up meaningful conversations with others. You like to, so go for it. The kingdom needs you. Use your talents to glorify God. Are you quiet? Introvertive. Introvertive is not a word. Introverted. Introspective. There are the words. Introverted. Introspective. Put them together and you make up ridiculous things that aren't words, but you still put them out because you're not editing this, so it's fine. Are you introverted? Are you introspective? Are you quiet and thoughtful? Write a heartfelt note to someone. Note something specific that you've noticed that might encourage them. If you're quiet, if you're kind of always watching and listening, then you're going to pick up on things. You notice things. You're a noticer. We'll notice them on a piece of paper to someone else and encourage them. I could go on and on and on and on for a million years and never cover all of the ways that we can encourage one another. Are you gifted in design and home interiors? Have people over in that Pinterest-worthy home. Are you good at facilitating relationships with people? Well, use your home to have others over to strengthen the bonds within your congregation. Are you feeling like you don't have a lot to offer? Well, do you have a phone? Do you have Facebook? Do you have a way to reach the world? Then you've got a contact you can encourage. Somebody out there speaks your same love language or speaks the language you're going to be putting out there. You have a way to shine for Jesus. The point is this: the one who made us is worthy of our praise and adoration. He is worthy of all of the glory that we can point in his direction. So in whatever you do, in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord. Whatever talent you've been given, give it back to the Lord and continue growing and using that talent so that he will bestow upon you even more to use for his glory. The world is ripe with opportunities for him. Make sure that you've gotten up and looked around recently. It's easy to sit on a talent. Don't. Be a woman of God who is walking with the Lord, serving him and others every single day. Now, I want you to go back in your mind to the very beginning when we locked in that thing that maybe we're good at. How can you use it this week? How can you use the personality that God has given you in a way that honors Jesus? How can you use the talents God has given you in a way that honors Jesus? How can you specifically pray this week to be able to use your gifts for God? Are you willing? Because if you're willing, God will use you. God will use you. Think about the men that Jesus picked to be his closest followers. Think about the 12. If you're picking out people to be like these studious disciple people, I don't know that fishermen are like at the top of your list of what you're thinking of. Maybe a tax collector, he's probably good at math. Maybe good at bending rules. But, think about the different personalities of these men, their different strengths, their different talents that they had been given. What is required when you come to Jesus is that you just give him everything, trusting that he designed you and he can use what he's made for his glory. You should give it to him. Come willing, offering yourself, and let him use you. That's what it takes. That's what it means to be a disciple. Just like Jesus said, you've been catching fish. I'm going to make you catch people. Well, okay. That seems far-fetched in my mind, but not in the mind of Jesus. Not in the mind of God. He knows how to do that. And so whatever I got working over here, mom with 2 small kids and a whacked up brain sometimes, I don't know what that's going to do. But I trust that if you can take loaves and fish and multiply them for everyone, that if you can take weird mud that you've spit in and put it on a dude's eyeballs and it make him see, I trust that you can do good with me too. So just put it in God's hands. All your talents. If you got a handful of them, if you just got one, whatever it is, give it to God and trust that he'll put you to work. And then let's get busy. That's what it takes. That's what we're all about here at Wifey Wednesdays, using what God's given us to glorify him. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Until next time, remember, love God, love your husband.